or welcome if you're new. My name is Tiana and I'm the maker behind Also Stitched, and today we have a knitting podcast. I will be talking only about my finished objects today, and it's been a month and a half since my last knitting podcast, and I'm actually surprised with the amount of items I have. They are a bit small. They are on a smaller size, definitely, but still, I'm really surprised. I won't be talking about my whips because I only have 2 of them, and I know I won't be finishing them in the next month because I have my convention in only 4 weeks and I've been crocheting a lot, prepping for that. I also have some yarn acquisition that I will show in the end, and that is it. Let's just start. I'm gonna start with the projects that were whips last time. I also have my laptop here, so I will be reading off of my spreadsheets and my Ravelry page just so I can remember some of the details because it's been a month and a half for some of these projects and I'm not sure if you are guys like that, but as soon as I start new project I forgot what I did on my last project and I just can't memorize those things. I don't even know what the construction was going on. I just forget all of those things. I don't know. The reason I was procrastinating filming this knitting podcast was because I was procrastinating putting the buttons on this cardigan. And I don't know why I was so overthinking that and putting it off when in the end it was just an easy process. I am perfectionist, very much perfectionist, and that's why I tend to procrastinate things like that are very visible and in your face if you make a mistake. Did I make a mistake? I don't think so. You will see me wearing it in a B-roll footage. I think it is perfect. This is so nice. This is done. I'm unbuttoning the first button because it is very hot today, even though we are only 5 days from winter. Winter in Australia starts on 1st of June, but we have rain and it is very humid and hot, and yeah, winter in Australia can still be hot, so I'm overheating now. This is Drops Air. I love it. The colorway is pearl gray. It is the lightest of their gray shades. I know you cannot see a lot here while I'm sitting. It is on a shorter side and it is more fitted than in the pattern, and I'm okay with that. I wanted something smaller because my last cardigan that I did was very oversized, and I wanted something more fitted that I can wear on a jeans as a jacket style. I wanted to be fitted like up to my hips, not covering my hips and bum. So I really love it. The sleeve length is perfect. Everything is perfect. It did block a bit more, so that's really good. And the bottom, I was thinking, should I put the button on the bottom? And then I remembered that the pattern feature is actually that you are decreasing on the bottom part to get that bottom open. So it is creating like a V on the bottom. So if I were to put button there, I would be actually pulling that fabric while I was decreasing to leave that open. So I decided not to put the button on the bottom and leave it as it was planned in the design. And I really love it. I love double knitted button band. I love this thick round collar. It is done in traditional European construction style where you start with the back panel. I talked more about all of this in my last video, so I actually forgot what was the next. I know you're increasing for the armholes and then you're picking up for each front. You do have some short rows. I mean, Moreca Knit. Did I say that this is Janette cardigan by Moreca Knit? I probably didn't. Moreca Knit is queen of short rows, so she has a really nice shaping to her garments, and I think there are some short rows here. All of the inset sleeves are done with short rows. There is a lot of shaping that goes into her garments, and I really appreciate Moreca Knit for everything that she is doing and putting in so many details in these garments. Working with Drops Air was a really nice experience. I'm a process knitter and I enjoyed this so much. I have very sensitive skin and I have zero reactions to this yarn. I love wearing this yarn. This is so nice and so soft. It is very warm, I have to admit. I am overheating now, but I do see myself working more with Drops yarn, and I'm gonna show you. It was on sale this month at Wool Warehouse, so yes, I do have some small acquisition with Drops Air. I bought buttons in Spotlights. This is our big box store in Australia, and they're just, let me double check, they are 23 millimeters, these buttons. I mean, this means nothing. These are actually hemline buttons. I saw this brand also on Wool Warehouse, so I think this is just the generic brand of the buttons, but oh well, they were very cheap and they work perfectly fine. They're like grayish marble, something like that. I love them. They were cheap and they serve the purpose. I'm not too fussed about the buttons. I knit size small and it fits me around small, between small and medium. I'm always size in the middle between small and medium, so I can always go up and down depending on the amount of positive ease I want to have. I did knit size small just because I knew I wanted less positive ease, and that's exactly what I got, and I love it. This was on my needles for 27 days. It used 405 grams of yarn or 1,214 meters. I did it on 4mm needles just because that's what I got my gauge on. I really don't remember what the pattern calls for, but I swatched and I worked it on a 4mm needles just to get the gauge. Do I recommend this pattern? 100%. This is my second pattern from Moreca knit. The first one was Pole Cardigan. That one is V-neck, drop shoulder, and this one is round the neck, inset sleeves. And I love both of her designs, and I do see myself making more of these. Not sure when, we'll see. I'm not usually someone who likes to wear a lot of cardigans, even though they are the most useful garments in Australia because you can easily take them on and off. But I also noticed that I have sensory issues with garments, and I've been like this since I was a kid. I can't wear my cardigans open for some reason. I don't know why. It is the same thing with jackets. I always have to have it buttoned up or zipped up, and then if the cardigan is open, it kind of annoys me. So I've noticed that I do prefer wearing sweaters, even though they're not as easy to take off, but I don't mind taking them over my head off. So we'll see. I do plan on knitting more cardigans and testing whether I prefer wearing cardigans over sweaters, but for now I do prefer wearing sweaters more than cardigans. Alright, so let's go for the finished object that I had that was also mentioned in one of my last video. That was Comfort Core socks. I don't have them with me because they are in the wash, which is a great sign. That means that my husband is wearing them and that he is really happy with them. So the Comfort Core socks are by Summerlee Designs, and it is done in Arcane Fiber Works in colorway Serenity. I did it on 2.25mm 9-inch circulars, and I did size medium. They were on my needles for 16 days. I used 86 grams of yarn because those were huge. My husband has a very long foot, and that was around 344 meters. So Comfort Core is a very specific design where you are making that tight band around your arch, around your foot, to hold your socks better, and he said he actually enjoyed that it fits him really nice. It gives him that tight fit of sock not slipping around, and he really loves it. I didn't enjoy knitting the top portion where there was a texture. It was very tedious and tight on a 9-inch circulars. I don't like knitting on magic loop. I prefer, if I need to, I would switch to DPNs. My problem with those socks was not just those, it's socks in general. When I'm knitting for my husband, I need to knit heel flap 9 centimeters. That is very long heel flap. And then on each side I had to pick up 30 stitches, which I end up with 110 stitches, and then I'm doing gusset decreases all the way to 64. That is a long way of gusset decreases, and that is my least favorite part. I really hate doing gusset decreases, especially on such a long foot. And ever since then I have knitted him a different pair of socks, which I will share in a second, and I have discovered that I prefer afterthought or forethought heel, just because it is done the same way as toe decreases, and it is so much easier. I'm gonna talk more about details when we come to the second pair of socks that I have finished, but that was my conclusion. I prefer, if I'm knitting for my husband, doing afterthought heel, just because it is so much easier and less work, less strain on my hands, because it's not just strain on the hands, it's very tedious, I'm not gonna lie. Knitting 9-inch heel flap and then doing all of those gusset decreases, it's very tedious, and I don't enjoy that process. So from now on I will be definitely doing afterthought heel for him. And that is all I have to say about Comfort Core socks. I didn't enjoy the process of knitting them. I would love to knit them for my myself just to test that band, how it's holding, but I'm really not looking forward to that process. I just didn't enjoy the knitting process, and that's fine. If I don't enjoy it, I probably won't making again, because like I said, I'm a process knitter and I really have to love the pattern and enjoy it to be able to repeat it. My next finished object is Sophie scarf. And this really wasn't planned. I had this yarn in my stash and I was thinking, what am I gonna do with it? I have 3 skeins and I decided, let's just do a Sophie scarf. I needed a mindless knitting project, something portable, something easy to travel with, and here it is. This is Knitting for Olive compatible cashmere in color oatmeal. When I ordered this, my thought was oatmeal should be warm tone, should be more on a beige side. Well, this is completely gray. I don't know how oatmeal is gray for them instead of being beige, but you can see my cardigan is gray. This is pretty much gray. I don't mind it, but I would prefer it to be warm tone. I mean, I could easily wear it with this outfit. Let me put it on. I don't know the size I got. I mean, I still have a lot of leftovers here. I'm never bothered with the size I'm making Sophie scarves because I'm increasing until I'm halfway through the yarn and then I'm decreasing, and that's it. That is the best way for you to use up all of your yarn. Let's talk about the yarn first. We all know what is Sophie scarf. There were so many Sophie scarves already done and knitted, but let's talk about compatible cashmere from Knitting for Olive. From the perspective of someone who has very sensitive skin, I love it. It is really soft, it is really nice, I don't have any itching, prickling, nothing. This is still not blocked. So this might go even softer after I block it. I don't remember why I didn't block it. I think I forgot about it because it was in my project bag. I just left it in my project bag, and when I was preparing this morning to put a list of projects that I need to talk about it, I was like, oh, I did this. I even forgot about this scarf. So last year when I bought this compatible cashmere, I was surprised because from the ball, you get a 25-gram small balls. It wasn't the nicest one, it wasn't the softest one, and knitting process with it didn't feel anything special. So far I have only worked with Cardiff Cashmere Brush Light, which is completely different to normal Cardiff Cashmere, but that was like a cloud. That was like knitting with a cloud. This knitting process was like just good. I wasn't impressed. It wasn't anything special. That's what I want to say. It was just good. But the finished object, I really do like it. I like how soft it is. I mean, it comes down to the garter stitch also, because garter is very squishy stitch. So that's why it also gives that bouncy feeling. It is okay. I love it. It is definitely half price than you would pay Cardiff Cashmere. I don't know. I might need some bigger project out of it once in the future. This is essentially 4-ply. Let me double check, did I hold this single or did I hold this double? I actually don't remember. It was done on 3.5 mil needles, so I assume I hold it single. No, I hold it double. Yes, I hold it double. That's why it went by very quickly. On 3.5 mil needles, yes, I would hold it as a DK. So I got 3 balls holding it double. I mean, this is quite a nice length. I mean, you can tell. This is almost a meter. When I spread it like this is a meter, probably a meter, and this is halfway. So I probably got 2 meters, which is not too bad. So out of 3 balls, you can almost get 2 meters length of the Sophie scarf. So this almost looks like a Sophie shawl instead of Sophie scarf. I would definitely recommend this yarn. For the price, it is definitely cheaper. It is very soft. But when I'm thinking about it now, I can get merino soft like this. It doesn't have to be cashmere. When you're paying such a huge amount of money, I can get this softness out of so many merinos. So if you were to give me this and said that this is cashmere, I would say, are you sure? This could be merino too. So I don't find this yarn anything special. I wasn't blown away with this yarn. I think that is all. I think it was around 20 Australian, maybe 25 Australian dollars for that tiny skein. I think I paid, $60. I paid $60 for those 3 little skeins. I could have a garment quantity out of Bendigo Woolen Mills Whisper, which is an extra fine merino, and it would be the exact same softness. As much as I love the knitting process, I love the yarn, I love the garment that I have. I'm definitely gonna wear it. I made it for myself, and now that I see how well it goes with this outfit, I could easily wear this together. I'm really happy with it, but I would say go try it, but don't expect to be blown away as you would be with Cardiff Cashmere. Cardiff Cashmere is definitely next level, and it is also double the price. So yeah, this is my Sophie scarf in Knitting for Olive compatible cashmere. Let me know if you have worked with Knitting for Olive cashmere and what are your thoughts. I'm really curious to see from your experience. Would you make a full garment out of this, or do you think it is really not worth? I'm curious to hear. Alright, so let's go to the next one. Next one is Oslo hat, another Oslo hat. It is not my first one. It is kind of, at this point, a mindless knitting project for me when I need something to work on, but I don't want to overthink patterns. But I did something in a new yarn to me, because I was curious to experience this yarn. As a process knitter, I like to experience new yarns. I was buying a redesigned project bag off of Westknit's website, and I think I'm gonna make another video about all of my project bags from Redesign, because I have a couple of them and I really love them, and I would like to make a whole video about the Redesign project bags where I'm gonna compare the different sizes. But since I was buying off of Westknit's website, Stephen and Penelope actually, not Westknit's, yeah, Stephen and Penelope, I decided to put in cart some, since I'm paying that big shipping, huge amount of shipping, I decided to buy some yarn just to test and try new yarn to me. And I decided to go with a Holst Garn, but Holst Garn Super Soft in colorway chiffon. I was really curious about this yarn. Everyone talks about this yarn. A lot of people buy this yarn from cones and talk about it. And I was really curious, what is it so impressive about this yarn? Well, let me tell you. First, when I received this, first of all, when I was ordering this, I read so many reviews saying that this is rough yarn. And even with the huge amounts of blocking and washing and soaking it in a dish soap and things like that, it's still a bit on a rougher side. I knew I won't be able to wear this yarn from the get-go. So I was choosing colors that would suit person in my life who would be able to wear it. So that person could be only my husband or my sister-in-law. My husband doesn't need a lot of beanies here in Australia, but my sister-in-law could have. And then I decided to go with this color because camera is not showing this so good. This is more like gray, green, purple. There are so many different tones in this. I'm hoping that the camera can pick this up. It's really different. I think it's gonna look even better after blocking. I didn't block this project just because I want to film a whole video of me blocking and doing this transformation, because I'm really hoping that this yarn is gonna transform with blocking. Experience knitting with this is awful. I mean, awful. If you're a process knitter, don't use this yarn. I didn't enjoy this at all. This is rough. This is so dry, so rough, so scratchy. If you're sensitive like me, I do have sensitivity in my hands too. I didn't have any reaction, but I didn't love having this in my hands. It was awful. I admire people who can use this, and I especially admire people who can wear this, because I wouldn't be able to wear this. I'm looking forward to see the transformation with blocking, but even then I don't think I would be able to wear this even in hat. I was holding this double and I was knitting Oslo hat. And here is the Oslo hat. Just look at the structure of this hat. Look how stiff this is. I am a tight knitter, but this is so stiff, so rigid. And I'm really expecting it to block nicely. This is the colorway. You can see pulling gray, green and purple. There are multiple colors in this yarn. Yarn looks beautiful. I was really happy with the color. It's gonna suit my sister-in-law, but this process of knitting was like knitting with sandpaper. Literally, this feels like sandpaper. I think in my next video I'm gonna film like a short video of me blocking this head, because I do want to film the whole process just to share with you guys, so that you can decide whether you really want to dive into this yarn or not. I don't have to talk a lot about Oslo hat. Oslo hat is a double folded brim hat, which is really nice pattern from PetiteKnit, again very famous. It has beautiful crown decreases, and I love this pattern. I really enjoy knitting this. You start off knitting this whole long part, so it is very nice and mindless project. You just cast on and start knitting this whole. This is double folded, so you do double this, and then you have some short rows to turn it all around, and it's really nice pattern, really easy. I am a beanie knitter. I really enjoy knitting beanies, and I'm also selling beanies at my markets that I do. I do crochet markets, so occasionally I do bring my beanies and I sell them there. So yeah, my thoughts about the Halls Garn Super Soft. I don't like it. I will never buy it again. I was curious. I have scratched my curiosity, and I know I don't have to ever think about this yarn, buying it, trying it, especially not wearing it. I'm looking forward to blocking this and sharing this experience with you, so stay tuned for that, because that would probably be my next video. Let me see, what else do I have to say. I did this on a 3mm needles. I think usually it's done on 3.5, but I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't remember. It's usually done on 3.5 or 3mm needles. I did it in only 5 days. It used 90 grams of yarn, so I had 2 skeins. That was 100 grams. I do have a bit left over, and that was 516 meters. I have twice this left over, and I don't think I will be saving this for anything, because I don't see where I will be able to use that. All right, so let's go with my next pair of socks. This was the most fun knit I have ever done, guys. Let me first show you, then we'll talk in details. How cool are these socks? And this is the heel, this is the afterthought heel that I did, and I really enjoyed making this. It was fun, and I'm in love with color work. This was my first ever color work done. Actually not. I did a Totoro beanie last year, I think, sometime. I don't remember when was that. Maybe this year. I did a Totoro beanie just to test it, to see how the color work works, and I loved it. And I decided to try color work in socks. This is patterned by Stone Knits. It is her Spooktacular. I think it is Spooktacular. I think you can buy it on Ravelry, but she also has it in a book. I have a book with all of her patterns, so I did it out of the book, and I love this. I can't believe how obsessed I was knitting this. I think I did this in only 16 days, but out of those 16 days, I was waiting 7 days for my yarn to arrive, because I lost yarn chicken. I lost yarn chicken with the black yarn. These socks would be done in a week if I had enough yarn to finish them. So much fun. I couldn't put this down. This was so amazing. Now I am obsessed with colorwork socks. These are done in Drops Nord, black and off-white. Drops Nord is a bit on a thicker side when it comes to sock yarn, but I really love it. Look at the halo it has. Look at all this fuzz. Especially you can see with the white fuzz coming around the black. It is very thick. It is really nice. I can show you what it looks on the inside. This is what my floats look on the inside. I was really paying attention just to stretch them on my right needle, and that was it. And in the pattern, she also asks you to go up a size a needle for a color work. So everything in the black cuff, heel and toe I did on 2.25 and the colorwork portion was done on 2.5. And I knit this as a tube. I did 4-thought heel because I knew where I wanted to put the heel, so I knit that half a round of stockinette, and then when I got back I just pulled that. I don't even know how to explain this. It is 4-thought heel where you are knitting half a round of with a waste yarn, and then you're coming back and pulling that waste yarn once you pick up the stitches on the row before and after. So it was really easy and I really loved it. So this is what it looks like for the 4-thought heel. The thing with my husband, since he has a high instep and high arch, I knew that I would have to knit a lot more just plain stockinette before I start decreasing. This essentially looks the same as toe. You are working it the same toe decreases as you do for the heel. But here you can see that I was just knitting a plain stockinette for a while. I would have to double check my notes. So I was knitting 12 plain rounds of stockinette before I started decreasing. And I was just decreasing as I would for the toes. I ended up with 28 stitches in total and then just grafted that. And it fits him perfectly. I don't think I have nailed the recipe just because these are done on 2.5 millimeter needles for the body, for the color work. So if I ever make a different sock on the whole sock on 2.25, I will also have to adjust my heel for the sock done on 2.25. So, but I just know the recipe and how to do the math, and it's really easy for me, and I'm really happy that I have nailed such a huge sock, colorwork sock, for the first time, and that it fits him and that he is really happy. He has not worn them yet because these are very thick socks. First of all, Drops Nord is thicker sock yarn. It is very fluffy and warm. Let me double check the composition of their yarn. It is 45% alpaca, 30% nylon and 25% wool. It's really nice yarn. I do love working with this yarn. It's definitely on a thicker side, but it works great on 2.25 mil needles. I do see myself making a lot more colorwork socks and I'm so excited for them. So yeah, this was such an joy to work on. I can't explain. After that, I decided that I want to make myself a colorwork sweater, and I'm going to talk about it in my yarn acquisition, but for now I enjoy this so much and I can't recommend this pattern enough. It is very mindless. Once you got into it, it is pretty much mindless and it is so rhythmic. I think that's what I like as a process knitter. That's what I like about the color work. It is very rhythmic and very fun. Since I am combination continental knitter, I mean combination doesn't make a huge difference when you're knitting socks, but I'm a continental knitter, so I'm knitting holding my yarn in my left hand. I did struggle holding two yarns around my finger. I have a specific way of tensioning my yarn around the finger. I usually wrap it twice and then twice here. I've always done this. I do this even with crochet. I tension my yarn the same way when I'm knitting and crocheting, and I was struggling to have two yarns wrapped twice because they will slide and get stuck and messed and get knotted and things like that. So I got myself this. This is called Yarn Guide by Clover. You can see how it holds on the finger. Essentially, you just put it on your finger, you open it up, you put your two yarns. I was having them on the first and the last. Close it off, and they never end up touching themselves. That was my problem, when the yarns were crossing over or touching themselves, and then I was wrapping them around my smaller finger, and that really helped me with my color work. And on 9-inch circulars I could easily just grab each color, and it was so fast, it was so rhythmic, so good to go. This is the yarn that I was using, so this is Drops Nord, and I can demonstrate you quickly how I do it. So white was my dominant color, so my dominant color was here on my left side and black was on my right side. So this is where the black was, and I do tension it around the finger. And here on the first side I had my white yarn and I would just easily knit. It was so nice, such a pleasure, and this saved me. I do see myself using this for color work all the time because this is the only way for me to keep my yarns not moving down my finger and touching. So yeah, this really helped me a lot. I do recommend you guys get this. I got this off of Amazon. It is just the Clover brand. I think most of the shops have these things, so yeah, feel free to check it out if you're struggling with color work. Alright, so one of my last finished objects, I recently finished that one, was knitted for my husband. But unfortunately I lost Yarn Chicken and it is now mine. So I've knitted him a Nortland Sweater by PetiteKnit. And this one was done in Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in Thundercloud on 5mm needles. And let me show you. You're gonna see the footage of me wearing it because you won't be able to see anything here. This is the sweater, just a basic men's sweater. At first, from the pictures, I didn't pay a lot of attention. I thought this was like a drop shoulder or something, but it's not. It is just a contiguous pattern where you are doing this like a saddle shoulders, but you're not knitting a saddle shoulder. You are doing this just with increases, like a raglan increases on the different spots. I'm not sure how to call this construction. Is this contiguous raglan or something like that? It is very similar. I think my Ivy sweater was done this way. I've done this on some other project. I think it was Ivy sweater. I can't really keep up with all of those projects. But essentially, this is all done with raglan increases on the shoulders. And then you continue increasing for the arm sleeves. And that is it. It is all done in one piece except for the back. You start with a classic European construction when you cast on stitches and do the increases for the, I don't remember if it's done with short rows or just the increases. To me, it's pretty much the same. It could be done with just the short rows. I really don't remember. It was so easy. Such a basic sweater, but really nice fitted and really lovely. Really lovely sweater. The problem is, since I lost the Yarn Chicken, this is a crop sweater on my husband and the sleeves are very short on him. He is very skinny, but he is very tall and he has very long arms, like extremely long arms. He even struggles with the store-bought sweaters because they usually end up like this on him. This ended up being mine, and since I knew I was losing Yarn Chicken, I also, in the body, started decreases. I'm not sure if you will be able to see, but on the side, I was doing, you can see the decreases on the side because I started decreasing in the body because he is very wide on the shoulders, but he goes very skinny towards his hips. So I started decreasing for him, and I'm lucky that I did it because it would be too big on me. It is very huge and oversized on me, and I don't mind it. I actually love wearing oversized sweaters. Guys, I've been wearing this sweater for the past week non-stop, every single day. I am of course changing the t-shirt under the sweater, but I have been wearing this a lot. Most of the time when I was knitting this, in my head I was knitting for him and I thought that this is very rough. I didn't like how rough and scratchy it feels. I did love the process of knitting with it because it is really nice yarn to knit with. It's really bouncy and soft and very plum, and it is their merino. It is on a heavier side. I would even say that this is bigger than 8-ply, but I really enjoyed knitting with this. I was hoping that it's gonna block softer with the blocking. It did a bit, but it is not as soft as you would expect from merino. This is definitely a rougher merino, but the fun fact is I can wear it. It's not bothering me. I can definitely feeling it, but it's not bothering me. For example, my cardigan that I made out of Bendigo Woolen Mills rustic tweed, I can't wear it. I tried to wear it this season and I just can't. Even over t-shirt and everything, I can still feel it. It's annoying me. It's giving me that sensation where you get annoyed and itchy and you just want to take it off because it's triggering so much sensory issues on you that you just want to take it off. That's how I felt with that cardigan. And I'm really bummed about that because I bought another sweater quantity of that yarn in different colorway where I wanted to make myself a storm sweater or cardigan, something like that. And now I'm thinking, I don't even know if I will be able to wear that yarn. I definitely won't be able because I put that cardigan in my storage and it's either gonna be frogged, donated, gifted, whatever. I can't wear that. And it's color that doesn't suit my husband and it doesn't matter. All of that to say that this feels rough, but it's not on my skin. I don't even know how to explain. It's really not bothering me. It's not triggering me. It's not causing any sensory issues. I do have a lot of sensory issues. I love wearing this. Since this is done on a 5mm needles and I did size large for my husband, this is very nice and flowy and open and airy. It is such an easy garment to wear. I'm usually wearing it around the house over my tights and it is so basic, so nice. I think I need more of these things. It's covering my bum, it's very long, so I can even go out for a dog walk because around the house I usually wear tights. At house I wear cotton tights and cotton tights are usually see-through. If I'm going out, public spaces, I wear proper like gym tights that are not see-through, so I don't have to stress about my undies showing. But at home I like to be comfy. That's why I'm wearing cotton tights, because they're very comfy. And then I can easily put this off. It's covering my bum. I can go for a dog walk or school run or things like that without being stressed. I just love it. I can't explain. When we realized that we are losing yarn chicken, I didn't have sleeves on. Sleeves were not knitted at the time. Since the shoulders and sleeves are done in raglan increases, I already had this much sleeves, and when he put it on he didn't like it as a vest. It just didn't make sense to him because it was already kind of short sleeved, and he said, no, I don't see myself wearing this. Just stop working on it, you're wasting your time. I don't see myself wearing this. And I was bummed. I put this on a side for a couple of days. I was looking at it, I was thinking, I was like, what can I make out of it? I bought this yarn for him. What am I gonna do for him? I can't make him vest. I can't make anything for him. And I'm so sick of making garments for him not fitting him. The last garment I did was another vest and it's again running small. And I will probably have to frog it and make another one for him. And I'm really tired of making garments and frogging them and garments not fitting. And I was like, I'm just gonna finish this because I would rather have a finished garment than half finished and not know what to do with it. And while I was knitting it and while I was finishing first sleeve, I realized that this would actually fit me, that I will have enough yarn to get the sleeve length for me because the body was already done. I finished the body. When I finished the first sleeve and tried it on, I was so happy realizing that this is gonna fit me. My only issue was, is this gonna be too scratchy for me again? If this is gonna be the yarn that I won't be able to use. Luckily, it blocked really nicely and it is my most worn garment up to date. I really love it. And it's also very peeling. I have to admit, since I've been wearing this for a week, let me show you some peeling happening on the inside of the sleeves. Will you be able to see any of these? I mean, yes, you can see some of these. This is the chair where I sit almost 24/7. This is where I work from. I crochet for work. I also edit videos. I do content. I do everything from this chair. And just rubbing with my sleeves over the armchairs, I got a lot of peeling already. But I'm fine. I don't want to babysit my knits. I'm really fine with that. Since this is knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, this yarn wasn't cheap. I mean, their yarn isn't cheap. It's like a middle, I would call it a middle price range. It is not extremely expensive, but it is also not as Drops or Bendigo Woolen Mills cheap. But I love it. I'm really happy that in the end I got myself a garment that I'm wearing every day, and I'm extremely happy for it. I really enjoy wearing this garment. I do recommend knitting for olive heavy merino. It is a really beautiful stitch definition. It bloomed really nicely. It softened. Let me see if I can give you up close of what it looks like. It's really beautiful, such a nice stitch definition. And remember, this is considered 8 ply and this was done on 5mm needles, so it is definitely a bit more open gauge. You can see that it is a bit more open gauge, and I don't mind just because it gives a very flowy garment, and I love it. I feel like this yarn is better than the knitting for olive just merino, which is single-stranded. I did work with that yarn holding with mohair, and so far I don't like it just because of the mohair, but I do have more of that yarn in my stash where I will be holding it single just so I can experience that yarn before I decide if I want to continue buying knitting for olive, because it is a bit more pricey and I honestly don't mind using drops for the yarn as a cheaper budget alternative, same as Bendigo Woolen Mills. So Nortland Sweater by PetiteKnit was done in 17 days. That was pretty quick because I took a couple of days just processing what I'm gonna do with this, and I also did a mid-project block for this. This took 433 grams of yarn or 1080 meters, and I used all of the yarn. Nothing is left, so yeah, almost 1100 meters, and this was done on a men's large size, so it's really oversized on me. All right, so those were all my finished objects. That's quite a lot, and I'm really happy with everything I did. I'm actually surprised how much I did because, like I was mentioning in a couple of my earlier videos, I'm preparing for a gaming convention where I will be selling my crochet plushes, so I'm really not knitting as much as I usually do. I do have 2 projects on my needles, which I really don't want to share this time because I want to keep them for the next time. One is sweater and one is socks, so we will see that in probably a month. We'll see if I will have time to film another podcast before my convention, probably after my convention, so we'll see about that. Let's jump into acquisitions because I do have a small acquisition. Each month there is a drop sale on a wool warehouse, and I tend to buy their yarn because I really love budget-friendly yarn, and I love drops yarn. I'm not gonna lie. It's budget-friendly, it's really nice, and it's really good yarn. So I'm gonna show you what I bought from wool warehouse, and then before that, let's go to one small yarn acquisition. Me and my husband went on I wouldn't call it a date trip or anything like that. We are at the stage in our life where kids don't want to go day trips with us anymore. They are teenagers. They are 12 and 16. They are in their age where they just don't want to spend time with that. And I understand that. I was a teenager too, and I know in a couple of years they will come out of that phase. My daughter, she's 16. She's slowly coming out of that phase. But my son, he's 12. He doesn't even want to talk to us. He doesn't even want to look at us. He's like zombie when he's with us, but when he's with his friends, I can't recognize that boy. He's a different person. And that is just the phase that he's going through. He has grown out so much. He has changed his voice, and he's turning 12 in a month. It is a huge change for such a young boy. All of this to say, we went to Bowral here in Australia just for a day trip, just to have some lunch, something nice, fancy. We went to French restaurant. It was beautiful. It was so, you know, when it's autumn here in Australia, we still do have some trees that are changing colors. And we went for a cherry tree walk because they do change colors in autumn. And it was such a beautiful walk. It was such a beautiful weather. And me and my husband just wanted to treat ourselves. And Bowral has a little yarn store that I didn't even know. We were in a restaurant next to it and I accidentally discovered that there is a yarn store. And I was like, let's just go. My husband loves to go with me yarn shopping. He really doesn't mind. And after that, we just went for a walk and just had a beautiful day exploring small cities in Australia are so lovely, so they're really beautiful. They're really full of treasures. I didn't have any plans to buy anything. I did end up buying another 5mm crochet hook because this is my most used hook for when I'm making plushies, and I needed that because mine is coming loose. But then I wanted to buy some yarn just to support them. This is the little shop that we went through. It is a very small shop. It doesn't have a lot of yarn. It doesn't have any like famous brands. This is what their shop is. So it is called Castle Handmade. Yeah, it was really cute. And since I didn't have anything in mind what I want to buy, I just bought one skein of yarn, that hook, and I bought a soap like that has like a bug repellent smell. I just put it in my chester drawer where I keep my knits. It's supposed to keep the bugs away. So I don't know if it works, but at least it smells nice. And then I was walking around the shop and thinking, what do I want to buy? I don't want to spend a lot. And I just got a one skein of Bambini 4. And this is 4-ply. It is 100% Australian extra fine merino. It is in a 4-ply. It is very nice and soft, and I bought it in this like brownish color because, and I think I'm gonna do Baby Bear Bonnet by Knitting for Olive, or Pernilla Larson, is that what she's called? I keep forgetting. I mean, you know, Baby Bear Bonnet, everyone knows about that pattern, so I wanted something more brownish. They didn't have a big color selection, that was my biggest struggle, so I just went with one skein to support small little yarn shop, and that was it. We were just browsing, looking into the yarn, having our time, and then continue on our walk through the city. It was just a beautiful autumn day outside. And then we have Wool Warehouse yarn haul. I mean, these yarns were all on sale, and the first one that was on sale was Drops Fiesta. It is their sock yarn, but you can make so much more than socks. I'm always testing if the yarn is itching me. I can definitely feel this one, but it's not as bad. I'm gonna definitely make either socks or, I don't know, we'll see what I'm gonna make with this. I bought 2 skeins in case I wanna make socks. That's the easiest I can do. I can always make DK socks because I do love wearing my socks and I wanna have some of the thicker ones. So this is Drops Fiesta in color 40. It is really interesting. It is gonna be like a beigey off-white color with some greens, reds, yellows. Yeah, it's like a nice, interesting colorway. And in case I don't make socks, I can make anything out of this. This is 50 grams, 110 meters. So this is 8-ply. Done on 4mm needles. I can actually make a beanie out of that, so I don't mind. I bought it for socks, but I can always change my mind. And I just bought a couple of other colors. This is another colorway. This is color 14. It is more pinkish. They don't have their names on here, but online they do have names, but here they have only colors. I think this one was called Strawberry something. This is color 32. Again, same Drops Fiesta. I bought 2 skeins of off-white. You can use it for color work, for anything. I mean, this is just a basic white. You can use it for anything. And I think this is my last one. This is color 35. This is, I don't know if it's more red or orangey. It looks more reddish in person, but on camera it's showing more orangey. So this is colorway 35. And these were so cheap. I mean, Drop is cheap anyway, so especially when it's on sale, it's even cheaper. Last but not least, when it comes to socks, I decided to go for Yarn Smith's Merino sock. I've already used this yarn in pink color when I was making my hibernal shorty socks, and I really love that color. I decided to grab these 2 colors because I'm gonna do a color work. It is called Apricity Socks by Summerlee. It is really beautiful color work pattern, and I bought these colors just to do that pattern. They don't have names here. So this one is 2K061 and this one is 2K079. It's more like beige and chocolate colors, and that would work so nice. I love this yarn. This yarn is very affordable and cheap. This yarn is running on a thinner side compared to most of the other sock yarns, but I still find it really works up really nice and really soft. I could easily wear a garment out of this yarn, how soft this is. It is definitely softer than Drops Fiesta. This is like next to skin soft. So yeah, this is gonna be one of my color work projects, one of my future color work projects. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually trying to remember why did I buy this, but oh well, I guess I did. I don't remember what I had in my plans, but yeah, that is a lot of sock yarn. But oh well, it is here now and we will have it in a stash. I don't mind stashing sock yarn because you can always do so much with sock yarn, and yeah. Alright, and last but not least, I have Drops yarn. Drops yarn was on sale, and these are the colors that I have. These are the colors that I bought because I will be doing color work. I just realized I don't have a band for green one because I was swatching this with gray, so I took the band off and I can't confirm which color is. I might look into my computer, but the pink one is color 53 and the blue one is color 36 and the green one, all right, so I had to double check in the computer. So this one is color 60 and it's called Bright Olive. Blue one is 36 Light Blue, and the pink one is 53 Strawberry Ice Cream. And then again, I bought, I don't know how many skeins. Let me see, this is Pearl Gray. I bought 5 skeins, but I do have leftover from this. And I'm not too fussed about the dye lot when it comes to this yarn. So if I need more yarn, I'm gonna use, I think I have 3 skeins left over. So that's why I didn't overbuy the gray one, because I'm gonna use my leftovers. And what I will be making, I will be knitting Winter Soul Sweater by Dorothy Officiers. I saw this one on Melissa Knits for Fun, and I really loved seeing her. She used this color with anthracite and it looks beautiful, but I decided to go with multicolor and decided to go for this color just for fun. I wanted something fun. I enjoy knitting color work and I wanted something fun. That is all when it comes to my acquisitions. I think I bought just 1 skein of each because that should be enough. If it's not, we'll make it work. I don't care. And yeah, that is actually it. That was a lot. I feel like this video is already too long. I don't know. I'll see when I get to edit it. But I'm really happy that I finally managed to find some time to show you everything that I have done over the past 1.5 months. Yeah, stay tuned for the next one. I'm already itching to start some of my summer knits. I do still want to have a couple of winter knits, but I'm desperately itching to start at least 1 summer knit because I like to have my t-shirts before springtime. That is all, guys. Thank you so much for staying with me all the way till the end if you're still watching, because this is the long one. And with all of that, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy knitting.